Hello, guys.
Hey.
Hope you guys are good.
Hi, everyone. Hope you can hear us okay. Give us a shout if you can. We are working hard. Hey, how's it going, Abby?
Hey,
It is so
guys.
good to see you on here, my lovely. We have a powerful one that we're going to discuss today.
On
The
tonight.
art of communication, week 18. My Lord, who would have thought we would have so much content to do 18 weeks talking about communication?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it.
Wow. Honestly, I knew it was a big topic, but I never envisaged that it would be almost 5 months of us talking about this thing.
Cool.
Hey, my lovely.
Nice. Let me see if I can.
So we are talking about the art of communication, specifically about tit for tat.
Crazy.
Tit for tat. Hey, those of you who are on here today, hey, my lovely, you know exactly what tit for tat means. Those who are in relationships, you know that is... The minute you hear tit for tat, hello, my love, how's it going?
You're right.
You know, tit for tat.
Welcome. Welcome.
I can say a couple things about that tit for tat. Oh gosh, guys, it is hot up in this house. I'm fanning, I'm wiping, I'm moving, but hey, we have things to talk about.
Don't we have a fan?
No, just leave it. But look,
okay. Cool.
Guys, it is going to be on today. It is going down. We are going to try to be as open and as transparent as we can.
Fully.
We're going to be sharing, but we want to be hearing from you guys as well. So it's sharing, it's hearing, it's us giving our part, it's you sharing what's on your heart as well. Feel free to jump on the live, feel free to message, comment. If you're a bit shy, it's fine, don't you worry. I know there are listening ears. Many people prefer just to listen than to be on the keyboard or than to actually jump on the live, but we know you're out there. And for those of you who are not watching us live and you're watching us on the rebroadcast, that's all right too. Just make sure you actually do share it with someone. You actually do bless someone to say, listen, these guys, they're talking about it, because I know that sharing is caring, but also I know that there are so many people who know that this is a challenging area for them. Tit for tat. When you're trying to manage a conflict, when you're trying to get into a discussion, and all of a sudden...
It's fresh, guys. It's fresh.
It just goes sideways and you get into the tit for tat.
Man. Yeah, we're gonna have it. We're gonna have a nice conversation. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. We're just making sure that
we are live, that we are good on all the social medias. Ulrich is just checking that all is well, that they can hear us okay on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. So give us a few minutes whilst we check that everything's all set up. Then we're basically going to launch into it and we're going to go deep, guys. We have to. And the reason why we have to is because it's, as Ulrich said, it's fresh. It's fresh for us. We've got a little story to tell you guys. But outside of that, we also know what it is to be in this situation. For many of you who may not know or may know, myself and Ulrich, we've been married for 11 years this September. And I think in the 11 years, we've had a good fair few times where we've entered into the realm of tit for tat. Fresh. Hands down. There's no two ways about it.
Definitely.
And I know that that's just in marriage, let alone the 3.5 years we were together before we got married. So I do know that you know. I'm not saying we always stay there.
No, definitely not. No, we've definitely embraced it. We have definitely touched down on it.
We danced with it.
You know.
Yeah.
So
I do hit you on that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting tonight. Cool. So Facebook is good. YouTube, just check my YouTube peeps are good.
YouTube, can you hear us? Can you give us a little thumbs up?
Check in, actually. Yeah.
Yay!
They're good.
Goody. Okay, cool. So you can write your comments. We've now changed our setup so we can see YouTube comments. We can see Facebook comments. We are trying our best to reach you guys. We don't want Instagram to get all the love. We want to share it out. So yeah.
Yeah, we're all good, man.
That's that.
Amazing. So, good evening, everybody. Hope you guys are well. As Siobhan has been saying, this is week 18. We definitely didn't think that we would have this much to say about communication. But although we're surprised, we're not surprised because communication is by far the most important part of any relationship, let alone a marriage. Do you understand?
That's right.
And when we had the divorce is not an option segment, I think it was towards the latter part of last year.
This year.
Was it this year?
Yeah, very beginning.
Crazy.
Of this year. Yeah.
But we started it last year.
Right. Yeah.
But we had Arlene Small, who was a barrister, and she gave us the lowdown. You know, she kind of just bridged us into this segment because she was just like, look, the reason for divorce, it's not money. It's not all of those things which we kind of title it as. Yeah. But actually at the crux of it is communication. Because regardless of those things, those overarching things that may be or may seem like the reason why a marriage was broken up and ended in divorce, it's actually because people don't talk. Yeah. So that's actually the core reason. So so here we are, week 18.
Week 18.
And this one's fresh, guys. This is fresh off the oven.
Fresh.
We generally like to be super prepared. And we are.
Yeah.
But this one touched the heart. Because tit for tat is it's a powerful destroyer.
Yeah.
Of communication.
It is.
And we're gonna go into it tonight. So thank you for joining us. For those of you that don't know who we are, I'm hoping that you can see our name at the bottom of the screen. But just in case you don't know how to pronounce it, my name is Ulrich.
And I'm Siobhan.
And this is Two Love Collective.
Yes.
And we talk about all things relationships.
Yes, we do. Indeed.
And like I said a couple of minutes ago, we are talking about Tit for Tat.
Yeah.
Which is week 18 of our Art of Communication segment. So we're going to go straight in.
Okay, so we need to set the atmosphere. We need to set the scene.
Yeah, we need to define things.
Yeah,
let me get mine because I read something today which was really powerful, and I thought it was important to tit for tat. Yeah, there we go. Here it is. To kind of read this out, right? So it basically says, let me find it. Where is it? There it is. So it says tit for tat is an English saying meaning equivalent retaliation. Right? It was developed from Tit for Tat, first recorded in 1558. It was also a highly effective strategy in game theory. An agent using this strategy will first cooperate, then subsequently replicate an opponent's previous action. So so this thing started time ago, you know.
Centuries.
And I'm sure it was probably before that, right? I'm sure if you
go
do
back
a little word
enough,
study, we'll find it in scripture somewhere. But I thought this was quite crazy because it means equivalent retaliation. And I just think even when we begin to like read some of these words and we begin to think about like almost like the mind and the heart that sometimes we're in when we're kind of doing the whole tit for tat, it's quite destructive. Because essentially it's almost like mockery. Essentially.
It's mockery.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because essentially you're mocking the person or you're mocking your spouse. Because that's what it says. It says equivalent retaliation. So I'll read the Oxford Dictionary. It says the infliction of an injury or insult in return for one that has suffered.
So basically, anything that you received, hey Admira, anything that you have received, you dish it right back out. So if you receive something in pain, so if your spouse now says something painfully, you dish it back out painfully. If your spouse now does something that upsets you, you do the exact thing back.
So basically, eye for an eye. You slap me, I slap you.
Exactly. You cut this, I'll cut that. You do this,
me,
I'll do that. You're literally saying, no, I'm not going to forgive.
Yeah.
I'm not going to turn the other cheek. I'm going to get you back.
Yeah, I'm going to give it back to you the way you gave it to me.
Now, when we say it out loud, that sounds ludicrous. This is your spouse. This is the one you love. You vow to spend the rest of your life with this person. You honor this person with your body and your heart and your soul and all these, but you're ready to give it right back.
Mm-hmm.
If they're talking smack, you just, you're giving it right back.
Yeah.
So are we okay with this in our marriage? Are we okay with this in our relationships?
Yeah, come on.
Are we okay with saying, well, you did this when they say to you, I didn't like when you did this? Because, okay, let's be honest. I feel like anytime we get into the tit for tat situation, it's to defend ourselves. So someone has raised an accusation against you, or someone has done something against you, and as a measure of defense. Now, I guess the challenge that I have is, I'm sure the Lord has said, vengeance is mine, says the Lord.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, but, like one of those things is, vengeance is mine. Not that you can quote that scripture without putting the ending on it, says the Lord.
Exactly. Not says me.
Exactly. Well, says for the people who want to misquote the Bible, they want to just grab a little bit for themselves, just this half of the sentence. No. The end of the sentence is very clear. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. So actually, not tit for tat. Yeah. Actually, not I'm gonna get you, sucker. But actually, I have to turn the other cheek. I need to forgive. I need to talk this thing through.
Absolutely.
I need to hold my peace.
Yeah.
I need to try my best not to speak back in anger. Definitely. To dish out the pain that I've received.
100%. So I think the reason why we want to talk about this today is because I think it's making us get to a point where we have to start thinking about where we're at in our mind when we are in that place. Yeah. Because I think one of the things we were saying a couple of weeks ago is that when you get into that whole arguing place, it's like we lose all sense of reasoning. We we lose all sense of reasoning and trying to understand what to say, because at the end of the day, we're fully in emotions. Yeah. You're fully angry. Some of you may not be fully in your emotions. You may have a temperament that is calm, but that doesn't mean that you're not in your emotions. Yeah. Do you understand? And sometimes some people who are able to do that can use their calmness as a weapon sometimes, because the other person is quite animated. So it's just like, but why are you getting vexed for?
Yeah. All of that.
Why and then the taunting starts.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the tit for tat. It's like, but why are you shouting? Why are you raising your voice? Yeah. And it's like, it's the little digs.
All of these things are just and it adds fuel to the fire. It does. And unfortunately, the argument or the discussion or the object of the reason why you were discussing this thing, it gets sidelined. Yeah. It gets parked on the side, and then you get into this other horrible place. You get to this point of just raw. It's just emotion. It's just anger. It's just how did we get here? And this is where offense is rife.
Definitely.
This is where offense is rife, because we now start getting distracted and going into other situations when we're now not building each other up.
No, not at all.
We're tearing down what we've been building in a relationship.
And it's indirectly as well. It's indirectly as well, because it's like, it's not tearing down, i.e. you're tearing down the character of the person or the integrity of the person, but it's like an indirect, I'm going to show you that
I can put you in your place.
I can put you in your place. Or I'm going to show you that, you know, I've got this leverage. I've got this ability, this leverage.
Good word.
Because sometimes it's like, sometimes in an argument, you can kind of feel like you ain't got nowhere out.
Yeah.
So sometimes to do that tit for tat kind of, you know, like, it's like you're just sizing each other up.
Yeah.
Literally. And I think it's fresh for us because, do you know what I mean? We had a disagreement very, very recently. And it was just, it was, we were just like, okay, I know what we're talking about tomorrow then.
And it is, do you know what, guys?
And we're going through the process.
And
that's what's crazy.
It is. And it as Admira has just said, it's petty and it's childish, but it's what you've learned. It's something that's learned behavior.
100%.
And unfortunately, when it's learned behavior, it's difficult to break out of it to do what you know you should do.
Sure.
So in a normal situation, it's crazy. If you were out on the street, no one else would be able to speak to your spouse in that way.
100.
You would go to town. You would back them back to back. Any person tries to say anything, even remotely like those things to your spouse, you're coming for them. You're ready. Your arms are rolled up. Your sleeves are rolled up. You are ready, not to fist fight, but to take this person down and say, you can't speak to my husband, my wife like that. Only I can? When I'm angry? When the situation calls for it?
Jeez.
When I feel like I can? When I feel like it?
That's crazy.
It's crazy to think that when we get into some of our conflicting arguments, we are actually justified to say, to act, to respond in the way that we have been because we feel like it's a defense as the tit for tat. And there are some times where the tit for tat can get so out of hand.
Listen.
That words are set, lines are crossed.
Yeah, and that's where it becomes dangerous. I mean, it's dangerous from the beginning because sometimes you can wallow in it and just kind of think, oh, well, it's just part of, you know, disagreements. But I think when you, that's why I said it can slowly destroy because I think what it does is when you continue to allow yourself to be there, it's almost like a lack of respect.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you allow to continue, it's something that gradually begins to kind of deteriorate the respect and the honor that you're supposed to have for your
one another.
Spouse.
Right,
and therefore now loving your wife or submitting to your husband now becomes more difficult.
Yeah.
Without you even realizing.
Yeah. That's good. So that's good.
N&D and Brown said, learn behavior, she agrees with, but collectively we have to work better at conflict resolution.
Yeah,
absolutely. 100% easier said than done. Trust me, that is so true. So true. It is not easy at all. Like we said, we just came out of one not so long ago, and I think one thing we realize is that this communication segment has done, it's definitely challenged us with our own communication. Because one of the things that we've always said is that we will never get up here and speak something that we haven't conquered or we haven't been able to be allowed to be processed. You know, and I think some of the elements of these lives, they have been very fresh off the cooker. Because it's like, you know, certain weeks we're kind of still praying and seeking God for what we should talk about, and then something will happen in the week, and it's just like,
okay.
And trust me, guys, this past 10 days, it has been essential that we communicate, because some of the things that we're doing, decisions that are being made like instantly in a day, you know, and it's like you can't say that you're not going to communicate. You can't say that you're not going to have to be forced to deal with conflict resolution and, you know, dealing with things quickly, you know, and it's crazy. And we were saying to each other today when we were in prayer, like, just saying, you know, finding time, because when we're busy, just as people, do you know what I mean? When we're busy, it is difficult to, review because you're going so fast and doing so much stuff that you don't have time to kind of review. Sometimes we've hurt each other. And we haven't even had time to say, you know what, when you did that, that got on my nerves. But because you're busy, you just have to keep going do you understand what I'm saying? So,
but then the danger is because you didn't review and you didn't get to come back to deal with that small issue, it just gets parked. And then something else happens and it jumps on top of it. And then before you know it, one incident can raise about 3 or 4 different spikes, and you're like, and now your back is up. But it's not just up because one thing happened. Your back is up because a few things have happened. And then before you know it, you're like, the explosion that the person probably would not have received, they end up getting because it's not the one thing. They have done a few things and they're valid things, but what happens is fire comes 7 times hotter at that point for those small things that it should have been just like, if I had only had time to sort this out here, it wouldn't have exploded and been as big or as bad 100%. As it ends up coming out. And then the conflict and then straight away, because now you give out so much,
trust me,
tit for tat instantly happens.
Because you're defending your honor, you're defending yourself. And think about it, if you've been, you know, somebody similar to myself where, you know, you've had to like fight through stuff like on your own, you know, not necessarily having the greatest of like support systems and stuff like that. And this is not against like my family and stuff, because, you know, they've been incredible, do you understand? But I'm just talking just in general, where even though you're on the journey and people are around you, you still feel alone, and you're having to kind of fight through things in your mind and in yourself. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when you're trying to achieve something and, you know, and sometimes it's like when you have been in that zone for a particular amount of time, it's like when somebody comes against you, you feel like, nah, you have to defend yourself.
Because if you don't, who will?
Exactly. You know? And it's such a crazy,
it's powerful.
It's a crazy thing.
Powerful.
It's like a defense mechanism. Do you know what I mean? And the reason why we're sharing this is because even in the kind of institution of marriage itself, there's where you're still human. Do you know what I mean? You're still an individual, though you're married. And so your insecurities and all of those things, some of those things are still there and they're still very real. You know? And sometimes that causes us to react in particular ways, which are just, they're not positive. You know, and they don't help.
Definitely. I just want to go through a couple of the comments because you guys have been blowing up the chat. I'm loving it. So
we heard each other's accountability partners.
Yes, and 100. That's good. So I love what you said, Nanda. It's basically one of the greatest things and one of the strongest things that couples can have, married or unmarried. Have accountability partners, have people, safe spaces that you can go, you can share, you can speak to about what's going on in your relationships. There's nothing worse than when it's just insular and the fire is burning inside and there isn't a referee or somebody to say, stop, let's bring a fresh perspective, let's try to see each other's thoughts or opinions and each other's side of you. So definitely accountability partners are fantastic.
100%.
So I love what Admira says. She said, doesn't it seem from upbringing as well, for example, childhood friends,
Ooh.
and if you've had a particularly traumatic childhood, if you've been bullied, things like that, you've had to work out different defense mechanisms.
Definitely.
And if somebody's been trying to pick on you, you got to be ready to hit them back with something. Now, I know growing up, my family said if somebody hit you, better hit them back. And you're not just giving them one hit, you're giving them 2 hits so they don't come back again. So that you hit them harder so that you're safe. So effectively, that is drummed in when you're young. You're ready when it comes to marriage, when it comes to relationships. Someone says something, I'm ready. I got 2 guns ready.
Crazy.
What is that?
Crazy.
But like you read, it's like a game. It's the art of war. It's kind of like something that you have been trained to go into. Okay, guys, we're in battle mode. It's
crazy. It's like shields open. It's like the armor comes on. Choo 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 choo.
I'm
like,
ready.
Let's go. Let's go.
I've been sharpening. I've been sharpening. Not
even sharpening. I've been training.
Yeah.
What do you mean, lions and bears? Yes, Tuna. Listen, praise God. Yeah, we have to be honest, man, because there's too much. This stuff is just hushed up too much. It's just killing. It's killing relationships slowly. That's why you shouldn't let things build up to the point that it's too late. 100%. Right. You've got to release the pressure.
Yes.
Release the pressure.
That's good.
Because if it's too bottled up, it's gonna explode. It's gonna become a volcanic eruption. There must be a way for that gas to escape, boy. Agreed. Never let the sun go down on your anger and conflict. 100. It's just snowball beyond control. Exactly. Agreed. Join. So yeah, it's hey Mahalia, you're right. So guys, tit for tat, man. Slow destroyer of relationships. And something that we were explaining a little earlier, that we had an argument yesterday, and we found ourselves in tit for tat, and we don't generally find ourselves there.
No,
but
we don't. But
yesterday
this one
was just
so
like
heated.
Hey!
And the thing is, okay, so a number of things, and it was a prime example of what we're discussing. So there were a number of things that weren't addressed because we were in a busy season. So imagine you're in a busy season and things happen, and for whatever reason, you don't get to discuss them. You don't get to raise, actually, I didn't like the way that this happened. I didn't like that this took place. I didn't like that you did this. Hey, Dion. And I didn't like how the outcome came and what you said. It offended me. We didn't get to review. So there was stuff bubbling on the inside. bubbling. And then it came out in a fire breath.
Chee.
And then the fire breath that came out was now retaliated with a tit for tat.
Yeah.
Now, the problem that we had is because that we had this tit for tat, the issue that was raised got parked and we went on a detour.
Yeah.
And the detour was cold. The detour was not in love. Jesus. And what's more, the detour was long. Because this detour decided to start from around 10:30.
All right.
And all after 12, we're in the detour still.
It was ridiculous how quickly time went by.
Why are we still here in the detour? And when I'm talking about the detour, I'm talking about in the tit for tat.
Yeah.
But all I can say is thanks be to God that we 100. Had the grace to go through that experience.
Yeah, and actually still talk.
Exactly, because in that tit for tat, he tit, I tat, he tat, I tit. We went back and forth. We both did the tit for tat. We were both completely guilty of bringing up, well, this was what you did. Well, you said you wasn't. Well, we did it. It was us fully. Entirely. We were fully in the tit for tat.
Full steam ahead on that, boy.
But what it did is it allowed us to start airing out all of the other stuff that didn't get raised before.
Yeah. And I think that was definitely the learning point of the whole thing. Because when we got to the end, it was like, okay.
I didn't know that that's how you felt about that thing. I hear that that's how you felt. And actually, when I now think about it, I am now cringing that even took place. And you know what? I can see why that took place because of
how I see things.
Exactly.
Or how each other sees things.
Exactly.
Because I think that's another part that like we're learning again. Because, and this is why I've always said to Siobhan, like, I don't have a problem arguing. I can argue all day. Do you understand? But I think the key is when we come out of it, what have we learned?
Yeah.
And I think if you're having an argument, have an argument, but just be mature enough to be like, okay, cool. What have we learned from it? And even yesterday when we were having our argument, I kept on saying, we need to figure out how we're going to. Because we identified that there was something that we needed to address.
Yes.
Do you understand? And the reason why we're being open and transparent is so that you guys understand, like, this thing is real.
Yeah.
Like marriage, relationships, communication. Nobody is above the law. Nobody is above reproach.
Yeah.
Because we've all fallen from.
We've all fallen
short. We've all fallen short.
That's right.
You know, and every day is a grace that God extends to us for us to reach perfection. And it's only by his grace that we continue to stand. Do you understand? So I want people to understand, because I think sometimes people have an idea of marriage, and when they see, particularly us, most of the people that we counsel, not most, all of them, we let them know, look, we're not perfect. Do you know what I mean? Yes, we post great pictures, we post about our families and all that kind of stuff, and this is why we do the lives, so that people understand that behind all of that, there's still an engine running. Do you know what I mean? And that engine gets dirty sometimes and needs refueling and it needs cleaning. And do you understand what I'm saying? This is a functioning thing. Yeah, it's not a thing just to look pretty on Facebook or to look pretty on Instagram and to, you know, for people to get loads of views. That's not the point. The point is we have to work together. Yeah. Do you understand? To make this thing work. If both people are not working together, it's just not going to work. Yeah. Do you understand? So we're showing you these sides of us so that you can be encouraged. Yeah. That when you get there, it's not the end.
It's not the end.
It's just about how do you now address the issues that you are faced with.
Yeah. We're not saying that we found that answer, but we are journeying to find that answer. So out of that situation, we can now see, do you know what? The problem for us was just that we're in a season where things are moving quite fast, quite rapidly. And so the build-up happened because we didn't actually give each other the time to review. So now we're able to say, okay, cool. So maybe what we need to do is have more review times. And maybe what we need to do is have more so we had a couple we had a couple on, Miriam and Emmanuel, and they shared amazing things about their relationship and how often they review. So they sit down and they
give each other
the realness to say,
fullness.
How am I doing?
Exactly how they feel.
How do you feel about this? And they have sections where they say, okay, how do you feel about your love life right now, or your sexual fulfillment and things like that? And they are honest and open. And I think when we had them on the show, we were like, wow, you guys are you really go in, like you're really open with each other. But I don't think that we necessarily were as open and as welcoming with that. But after hearing that, we're like, do you know what, we could actually put this in, because maybe it would help us de-escalate.
Definitely.
And I think that's the point. It's like I think it was Nanda who was saying, it's about adding a de-escalation tactic. It's about trying to not get to the point that you explode, but you try and do something, put things in place that you're not allowing yourself to get to that point.
Yeah, definitely.
So
definitely,
I guess what I would say is, like what Eliza has said, hey honey, she said a lot of work goes into a relationship to even look functional.
Yeah,
and that is completely right to even look functional on the outside with other people looking in, let alone on the inside.
For real.
Being that functioning relationship. Because let's be honest, like what Ulrich shared, if we too often get to that argumentative state where we get into that tit for tat, as you rightly said, it makes submission harder, it makes respect harder, it makes loving harder. What man wants to wash his wife with the word and love on her and do all the things that Christ did for the church, and that's why he's supposed to do those things for his wife? What man wants to do that when in their tit for tat argument he just feels like he's been disrespected or destroyed or really come after? It doesn't make you feel like you even want to spend any time with that person.
Definitely.
So now, even though you've made up and you've apologized to each other,
sometimes they can be a bit of
you
withdrawal.
remember how that person made you feel. And they know those things about you, to know what buttons to press, what words to say, what to do to have leverage over you. It's just like,
it's mad. And that's why we have to be so careful with our words. And that's why the Bible is so clear about, death and life is in the power of the tongue, because you have to watch what you say, because sometimes words are like spilt milk. It's like once it's spilt, you can't really take it back. It's been said. Yes, things are forgiven, and you learn to forget and love again and all that kind of stuff. And all of that's important. But I think, and it's something I think we should kind of talk about as well, it's like the effects of your words in a relationship, because sometimes you can say things in anger and without even knowing it, subconsciously you've withdrawn. Subconsciously you've left the relationship because you're just like, I'm never going to let you talk to me like that again. And so what now happens is now the barrier's up, the wall is up, permanent, concrete wall, not a wooden wall or a hay wall, concrete wall. And sometimes you don't even realize that you've gone to that place until you come up against situations. That's why the next argument, it's like not taking it, and it goes higher and higher and higher. And whatever the conflict is doesn't get dealt with.
And I love what you ladies are saying. So Eliza, you've basically said, so I'm learning to speak and not argue, to try to understand why we got to a certain point and have catch-ups to allow us to put our feelings out there and move on from it. And she definitely agrees with what we're saying. And Kayon has basically said, this is so real. It's the memory that stays that breaks you in the long run. And then, Eliza said it's the memory that stays, and Kayon's basically saying that, and after you forgive, you have to recover.
That's good.
And that's so good, because time after time we talk about forgiveness, and then the person needs to move on, but that person moving on doesn't now take away from the fact that you actually need to recover. You actually need the time for you to heal from the things that was said, from what you heard, from somebody pointing out your flaws, your faults, your shortcomings. You actually have to process that. And unfortunately, that does take time.
Definitely.
And there's no time frame. There's no, give it a day or two.
You don't know how that person breaks that down.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's like food. Sometimes some food break down at different levels. Do you understand? And
then Kayon saying, and still demonstrate love. So you're processing, you're recovering, but you still got to wake up early the next morning and make that person breakfast. You still got to wake up early and say, good morning, my love.
Oh yeah.
You can't turn your and this is where people go into the silent treatment.
And the resentment kicks in.
Or this is where they go into their man cave,
because you've been
autopilot,
because you've been hurt.
Yes.
And the person has hurt you, and they in your mind you want to punish them. You can't punish them because that's not obviously the right thing to do.
No.
But the thing is, your role hasn't changed. So you still have to function the next day. You have to function. And part of your function is giving.
So you either have to
drive them to school or to work. You have to make them
their
food.
Yeah.
You have to iron their clothes. It's crazy. God's deep, you know.
It's so deep. And I love what Elisa said. So I need to go back. But that first kiss, hey. We got to come back to it. So, sorry. No, go back to the top of what she said. Okay. Yeah. So when you decide to move on from certain situations, it still doesn't mean you forgave at that point.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you still need to recover from certain situations.
Definitely.
To get that to the point where you can forgive and heal and not letting stuff get to you anymore. That first kiss after the situation, and sometimes fighting against your feeling of wanting to push away.
Jeez.
Now listen,
you just hit the nail on the niggly head, man.
I think that needs to be another live, because the coming
give when you don't want to, basically. Come on.
There's just so much in that whole area there. And I remember, I'm not even going to go into that. Elisa, next week, we need to talk about the first kiss after an argument.
Jesus.
Because I got some stories to tell.
All right. But anyway, so it's real, guys. It's real. Real. We're laughing about it because
we know
what it is. You know, when Jesus says that, he's not too far from
that
he can't relate to how we feel. Do you know what I mean? He's gone through it, so he knows how we go through it. And trust me, guys, it's and that's why we do this thing. We have to make relationships relatable.
Yes.
You can't have a relationship without being relational or relatable.
That's right.
It doesn't make any sense. There's no point in hiding and trying to be perfect, because it's not perfect. Because when people get there, they will figure out that you're phony.
Yes.
They'll figure it out because they'll be thinking, but
how come you do this here and you don't do this here? How come you say one thing and you do a complete and inconsistency? It doesn't go well. It doesn't end well. But what I just want to get into is with the tit for tat, once we've identified our motives.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we want to defend our honor, and there's other times where we just feel like, you know what, I want to get you back. Or there's other times where we feel like our point is justified to show this person, no, I do. Like they may say, oh, you never do the washing up. No, I do. I did it this time. I did that. You never do the.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And before you even know it, it's like, why do you need to go there? Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, but
why do we need to go there?
Yeah, but I think it's our human nature, isn't it? Like, because we're trying to prove that we're doing.
Yeah.
Hands down, we're trying to prove that we're doing. We're trying to prove that we're being the best husband we can be. Oh. We're trying to prove that we're being the best wife that we can be. And let's be honest, just like a child going to school, they don't want to be told that they're wrong.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to be told that 1 + 2, you know what I mean, is they've been writing this wrong.
Yeah.
You know, because there's even certain times with Matthias when we're teaching him to do things and we're going through the sums, and then he realizes that he's done something wrong, and then he'll be like, no, it's good. Because they don't want to have the correction. They don't want to have the ill report. They don't want to be told that they didn't make the mark.
Yeah.
And that is actually the root of it. Why we stay away from critique from our spouse, or open the communication waves to hear what I may be sucking at.
Hey.
Because then we're forced to now deal with what we already know we might not be good at.
Yeah.
Or we might be struggling with. Do you understand? So the minute we hear it, it's like blow up. But the thing is, you're angry at yourself.
Yeah.
You're angry at yourself.
Yeah.
Because you deep down know, you know what? I may not actually be
that good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what we're processing too. Do you know what I mean? Getting to that point where you are, I don't think you will ever really be 100% okay, but being more comfortable, should I say?
Yeah.
With being in a place where your actions and the stuff that you do that you allow somebody to critique you.
Yeah.
At that level.
Yeah.
Because it's an intimate level. It's not just, are you working fast enough on your computer?
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, are you loving me correctly?
Ooh.
Like that is intimate on the most intimate level.
Oh.
And to be told, no, you're not doing it right. Like let's just as that. Can a wife tell her husband that no, actually, that's not, I'm not satisfied? Can that type of conversation happen? And these are the type of things that we're talking about, guys.
With you hearing that and now not getting defensive and going tit for tat.
Yeah.
So when the person shares their heart, because effectively what brings up the tit for tat is when you first hear that first blow.
Yeah. The first offense.
The first offense.
Yeah.
Can the person say to you something that you don't want to hear, you didn't like? Can they critique you? Can they give you that word? And then you take it on the chin? You turn the other cheek?
No, man, we're human. What? Tit for tat? No,
So what now?
I can't believe I just did that. But it's real, guys. We're human. What? Listen, all guns blazing. Anyway, help us, Lord. We repent, Lord. Repent. It's so hard. It's so hard to find it. Okay, no, we've done that one. You doing all the dirty laundry in one argument when all you needed was a sock.
It's true. Because you get into one piece of argument and you pull out all of these flaws, and you didn't need to go there. You just needed to bring up one thing. You actually just wanted to talk about the dirty bowl that was left on the side. And then all of a sudden, we got your mama and them in the conversation.
And what happened last Tuesday.
And the kids and
boy, it just goes
how you drive comes up. It's just like, where did that come from?
Just snuck its way in, bro. Just snuck its way in.
Honestly, tit for tat goes to the extreme sometimes. Where things from way back.
It's like, what? It's
like from before you got married.
You know when there's a bad smell? You know, like when Will Smith was like, what's that smell? It just flew in.
Where did that come from? Because you're in tit for tat.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, well, you did.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. But just to give you context, though. So it's powerful, guys. It's really deep, and I think we're all a work in progress.
Yeah, we are.
And we cannot pretend that this thing that we can do it on our own. Do you know what I mean? Because no relationship, no marriage is an island. And I think we need each other like so much more than we think. And I think even with everything that's taken place this Sunday, you know, with England and all that kind of stuff, like we need each other, you know. And I think if ever there's a time that, you know, that we can come together, not just on a race level, but just on a blanket level, do you know what I mean? Let's come together. Let's talk about these issues. Let's help one another. Let's, you know, the Bible says, let iron sharpen iron. Do you know what I mean? Because we can learn so much from each other. And one thing that I've been so strong about, God has been really speaking to me about, is walking with a level of maturity and making sure that we're not in this kind of spirit of competition. Yeah. Because there's so much of that right now. Do you know what I mean? Where we remain private because we don't want people to know the realness.
That's it.
You know, or you know, we're trying to keep up appearances, try to make it seem like it's all daisies and it's all love and all of that kind of stuff. And it's just we're not like, Why are we competing?
Yeah. Why are we trying to rank our relationships against what we think is acceptably morally correct
by
or socially
other people?
correct?
And it's just like, guys, look, we are just trying to make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just trying to, there's old people who are like 50 years in, and they're holding. That's where we're trying to go.
Yeah.
I don't care how we get there, but let's get there.
Let's get there.
And let's get there together. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be like, yeah, I got 50 years. What have you got? It's like, look, praise God, you made it.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Come, let's all
let's
go.
Look. This is what I learned when I was there.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What did you?
I learned.
And I'm so glad that Siobhan talked about Miriam and Emmanuel, because I think what was so powerful about that live, right, is that these guys are young.
Yeah.
They're like 3-4 years into marriage, and they had a principle down that we didn't have. You understand? And obviously every relationship is different, every marriage is different, and you have to figure out what works for you, right? But the fact of the matter is, because I'm not saying everything that we do is what you have to do. You have to work that out between the two of you if it's something, because relationships are subjective.
Yes.
Do you understand? There's no direct instruction as to what makes it work, but there are principles.
That's right.
And how those principles are now administered is now up to the temperature of your relationship.
That's good.
However, we need to be humble enough to be able to learn from each other.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I don't have it down pat. You don't have it down pat. We ain't walked the road and known everything.
100%.
But I love we got a couple of comments to read from, actually.
Facebook. Let's go Facebook.
Okay, so I think it's Nathisha.
Yeah.
So Nathisha basically shared, and she said, I've shared my heart before regarding loving me correctly, but he couldn't handle the truth. And that is a big one. It's a big one. It's a big deal, and basically shut down. But I don't regret it. And I love this, that she said that I don't regret it. I think it's important to be honest and keep it real to myself and start with, and then to others. So to myself to start with, and then to others. So be real and be true to yourself. Yeah. If you know that you're not happy about something, if you know that something is hurting you, if you know that something is not helpful to you, you're almost yourself, not even almost, you are self-harming yourself by not speaking up. Yeah. If something is taking place, if you're not happy with something in your relationship, in your marriage, you need to be able to share and be real and be honest about how the person is loving you. Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, they may not even know that what they're doing is hurting you. They may not even know that what they're doing is not hitting the mark where it needs to be. Yeah. Because of experience, because of lack of understanding, because of a whole heap of things. We are walking in completely different spheres and from completely different backgrounds. So imagine we're expecting somebody to know how to love us, and they've never even had to walk a road in our a mile in our shoes. We're not mind readers. We're not mind readers. So we need to learn how to love one another and share on those levels. And I think, Nathisha, as you just shared, it was difficult for him to hear that truth. And he did shut down. And I think the truth is, when some people have to hear in relationships that they're not loving us right, that they're hurting us, that they're doing something that we don't like, it is painful for them. And they may withdraw. They may shut down. And that's something we have to be okay with, because at the end of the day, we have to know if they are going to withdraw at any point in time, if they are going to shut down at any point in time, there's room for us to rebuild. Just because they go into themselves, or just because they withdraw slightly, or any of those things, it doesn't mean it's over. I'm never sharing again. Yeah, that's right. It means, okay, cool. We need some baby steps. We need some interim. We need some breadcrumbs. We need some little things to rebuild.
True. And I think what I love about that point as well is what I was kind of thinking is that even though he may have shut down, it's now, I think it's now about your posture as well. Because I think when those types of truths come, sometimes the reason for the shutdown can be because of culture. It could be because of background, what they've seen growing up. It could be a number of different things. Do you understand? And especially because we're going into a kind of realm now where it's like, when you begin to deal with these truths, these are things that are not traditionally spoken about.
Exactly.
Do you understand? And sometimes, and it's something me and Siobhan have experienced as well, it's like sometimes when we've said particular things to each other, we haven't dealt with it before.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's an expectation that we should know what to say, or we should know what to do. And when that isn't, it's what we covered in the man cave. And the autopilot. When you're faced with a situation that you don't know how to navigate, it's very easy to withdraw.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because you don't know necessarily, or maybe he may not know what to say. But I think what's really important though is when those things are shared, it's now your posture to kind of get that communication coming back.
Yeah.
Do you understand? That posture of submission, because submission is not about just your doing, but it's how you do it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It's not so much about the thing that you're doing. Oh, I'm being here, I'm cooking your food, I'm waiting and rubbing it.
Face.
Do you understand? It's actually an attitude of how you do it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? You can tell a submissive woman to one that isn't being submissive, and they're doing the exact same thing.
It's true. It's the attitude.
It's the way you do it. So it's the way you approach. It's the way you talk. It's the way you affirm. Do you know what I'm saying? Just telling him like, look, you know, I still love you. What I'm saying is I just want you to speak to me. Do you understand? And I want us to be on a level where we can communicate and essentially satisfy each other.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Without feeling embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because I'm not embarrassed.
Yeah.
But and these are the types of things that we have to understand, and that humility to talk like that, that's, you know, I'm seeing loads of books being written, and you know, some of these things is not what is being spoken about. How to deal with these tough
and it's
truths.
difficult, but these are the kind of things that we have to be open to speak about. Now I love that what you've asked a question about dating. If you're not married as yet, if you're not prepared to have these kind of challenging conversations, it questions if the maturity is there and ready for marriage.
But I think it also depends, sorry to cut you, it depends on where you are.
Yes, in the relationship. If you're not.
Because dating covers, obviously one of the things that we covered before is that we have dating, we have courtship, then we have marriage.
Yeah.
So dating is kind of like the kind of, we call it the fluffy stuff. Do you understand? You're getting to know each other, seeing if you guys vibe, you know, all that kind of stuff. If you get on, if they're suitable, you can kind of see something. But when things become serious, that's when you move into courting. And that's why Siobhan and I like to say, this is where you now begin to present your evidence. Because now you're in the courtroom. Do you understand? Now it's serious. Do you understand what I'm saying? Or you want to get more serious. Because just because you get serious doesn't mean it goes to marriage.
Yeah.
Because the ring is not on the finger yet. Do you understand? So courtship is very important. This is where we begin to present the evidence. That's when you begin to talk about those types of things. Do you understand what I'm saying? You still, because remember, we still have to guard our heart.
Yes.
We have to protect our purity. We have to protect our maturity. Do you understand? So that we don't overstep particular boundaries before their time.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
That's good.
So and this is why it's difficult to talk about the dating one, because it just depends on where you are, and it depends again on the temperature of that relationship, because some dating relationships, they move, because if you're older, you ain't got time to be dilly-dallying. You ain't really got my time to be dating as such, if you get what I mean. Because you're a bit older, there's a maturity.
You're not finding your feet. You know exactly what you
want. How much do you make? How many kids you have? How many marriages you've had? How many? Like, come on! It's, you know what I mean. It's straight in.
Stages. You are at different stages. You're absolutely right.
So yeah, that's what I would say. But I think just try your best to just to be as loving as you can.
Yeah.
Communicate where you're coming from. Communicate your trust in his ability to as a man. Do you understand? Because that respect thing,
it is a big deal.
It's a big deal, and we've got to bridge that.
It is. But one thing I would say is, if it is that you've noticed that he did shut down, he did draw back, maybe look at different strategies that the two of you can work on to reopen that area of communication. Because shutting down is understandable, but it's not ideal. It's not what you want. You want there to be open communication all the time, in every area, no matter how delicate or uncomfortable it may be. So I guess what we want is for the two of you to be able to go back to that point, even if it's not instantly going straight in, but breadcrumbs, little by little. Things are built over time. Rome wasn't built in a day. Relationships are built upon trust. So effectively, the two of you taking the time to guard your heart, to speak in love, to reopen the areas of the waves of communication in that area by just addressing, okay, cool, these are little things that you could come up with, and we're happy to speak more personally if this would be helpful to you, so that we can actually come up with some real strategies that will help you guys kind of reopen that area of communication, basically.
Well, yes, guys, that has been...
Woo! And I missed the chat because I know that there were a couple of points over here. I know that Eliza was saying a couple,
yeah, she was saying, and not even about just putting out there, you sometimes have to paint a picture for them to actually understand that the other person means by not knowing how to love you. Yeah, it's true. And these are deep things, you know. I was on a father's call with my church on Sunday, and one of the guys basically said that in his culture, you know, women are raised to be wives from the age of 12, and sometimes even earlier.
Amazing.
And I was just like, because for the man, then we're outside playing, you know, with stones and kicking stones and footballs and you know what I'm saying, we're not even thinking about marriage and any of that kind of stuff. We just want to have fun. We want to exert energy. We want to play. We want to drink super sugary drinks and sweets. Yeah. And that's all it's about. So you can see how we have to change, I guess, the trajectory, even with our children. Yeah. Beginning to talk to them about particular things, begin showing them things from early. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel sorry for Matthias, you know, and Cyrus. I feel it for them. They don't know what's coming.
But honestly, guys, we thank you so much for joining us. Yes, I don't know that this is over with Tit for Tat, because I do feel like there's just so many areas. Okay, lovely. So, Nathisha, can you send us a direct message either on Facebook? I was going to say YouTube. Either on Facebook or on Instagram, whichever is easiest for you, and we can definitely reach out and speak to you on a one-to-one. And you're so 100%. Right, Elisa. Yes, Elisa. Women 100. Are being taught how to be a wife, but a lot of men are not being shown how to be husbands. They are just watching. And
I was gonna be, I don't like using this word, devil's advocate, and say, should they at that age?
But it's not even about the age, because what she's basically saying is the difference is women get, like the Bible says, the older Titus 2, older women teach the younger women, whereas the guys, are they being taught or are they just watching and having to learn on their own, rather than actually having someone train them and show them how to do this thing? That's true. They're just watching from, and some not even watching from a home that has it being modeled, but they're watching from somebody else's window. Yeah,
i.e. somebody walking it out with them.
Exactly. Yeah. And then there's some people that's not even watching with somebody walking out with them. They're watching somebody else walking across the road.
Right. It's powerful. It's powerful stuff, guys. Powerful. It's powerful stuff. But yes, on that note, we want to say thank you so much for joining us. This has been interesting. Very. Yeah, when we were thinking about this, I didn't think it would last this long, to be fair. But Look at God, huh?
Look at God.
So yes, guys, thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope it's been helpful and of value to you. Yes, Elisa, we are going to save this one.
Yeah, we're going to post this one.
We'll post this one so you can watch the first half of it.
Yeah.
And yes, guys, so continue to follow us on our social medias at To Love Collective.
Yes.
That's on everything: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Please also share this video if you think somebody will be able to benefit from it.
Yeah.
And as we say every week, thank you guys again for joining us. You could have been watching Netflix, Prime, Disney, but you decided to stay with us, man. And honestly, guys, we always and will forever appreciate the support.
Yes. Absolutely.
One thing is for certain, we're definitely going to be here next week, Tuesday at 9 p.m. Without fail.
The Lord knows.
By his grace, of course.
By his grace.
But yeah, guys, have an amazing evening.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week. All right. Take care.